And welcome into the latest RinkWise Podcast, presented by the New England Hockey Journal. I'm Evan Marinofsky. Pat, what's up?
Not much. Good to be back in the studio.
Yeah, before we do it, I want to give a big shout out. Our recent magazine is out. The November-December edition of New England Hockey Journal. Noah Servillis of Dexter is on the cover. Great shot by Dave Arnold. He always does incredible photography for us. So this is out. If you're a subscriber, you already got it, which is great. And if you want to order one, we discuss, I think, almost every prep team in here. The rankings might be a little outdated at this point because we do have that, but we also have a lot of other things, feature stories. I know one of the big things in here is what Dexter's boys team is doing with their program, because I always get asked that question. So we get into all that, MIAA, lots of other stuff in there as well. This is our busiest magazine every year, always around 60 pages. So you'll never get bored. It's a perfect thing to have around the house. And have it for Christmas as well.
On the coffee table.
That's right. It's not a coffee table magazine about coffee tables, but it's not that good, but it's pretty good. Pat, how was your weekend? What'd you do?
Stole a few days in New Hampshire before we get into the weeds with the holiday tournaments this
Smart
weekend.
Smart man.
Yeah, so but keeping tabs on everything. There was a big result on Friday. Dexter Southfield marching into Phillips Andover and taking them down 4-1.
Dexter's kind of been the surprise team on the girls' side, I feel like.
I don't know if surprise is the right word, but I don't know if I saw them beating Andover.
That's what I mean. It's like Andover, I thought, was like the number one.
Yeah, so I said this in my rankings, which we'll get into a little bit on the show, where it's hard to make such a sweeping judgment on Andover because it's one game. But like we talked about our thought process with these rankings last week where, it's not necessarily reflecting on who we think will be the best by the end of the season and overall on paper. It's just what have you done for me lately? So Andover 4-7 because you've only played one game. You lost it decisively, at least by the box score. So it is what it is.
That's the tough part. And the other thing is, like, I always go back to Tim Whitehead said it to me last year. He said, teenagers are unpredictable. And he's right. I mean, like, that's the truth, there's so many games every week that, you look at a team like Kent on the boys' side, they lose 7-2 to Brunswick, and then they rebound with wins over Frederick Gunn and Salisbury. And it's like, all right, well, okay, I guess, and that's also the beginning of the year too. Teams are rusty or they're, you have a lot of new players like Kent and Frederick Gunn on the boys' side are two examples of teams that have a lot of new guys who have high-end potential that are just kind of playing together for the first time. So I think you see that. Today we're going to touch on our rankings kind of throughout looking at the holiday tournaments, but the main point of today's episode is looking at the prep holiday tournaments. MIAA will touch on one big story because it happened over the weekend, but there hasn't been enough to go off of yet to really dive into it. Prep holiday tournaments are coming up. That's the big thing. They start Thursday. They run through Sunday. I love this time. It's like the perfect precursor to Christmas.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was always a blast. Like when we were playing, high school hockey, and there's like either on the 26th through New Year's, there's your tournament, or like the weekend before, what have you. It's always a sprint, but it's nice. It's great hockey.
This year it feels like it's later. Last year it was the past
off.
Weekend. Yeah,
I'm sitting there yesterday. It's like, oh my god, it's a week till Christmas, pretty much. Like,
and the other thing that scared the heck out of me was I realized yesterday, I'm like, I got to wrap my gifts now because our weekend is packed with stuff.
Yep. And the next thing you know, it's the 23rd on Monday.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well then I'm cutting it kind of close there.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Let's go boys tournaments, then girls. Why don't you take the reins?
Yeah, so we'll just go through our schedule post here, which you can find on the website. We'll keep you updated throughout the weekend.
It's free, by the way.
Free, every game, every time, every score as they happen, depending on how reliable these update.
Yep.
Which, usually by the end of the day, they're all in there, but maybe not immediately after as we like. But you know what? Starting off, first thing in the article here, you got the Groton Lawrence holiday tournament, both at Groton and Lawrence, right down the street from each other. What do you make of this field?
Yeah, it's interesting because they had Dexter last year, Dexter last year was sort of a large school, potential team. This year they're Elite 8 caliber. So it's interesting to see Dexter's out of this tournament. That was kind of Dexter's out partially because of that the new program they're running, this and that. You can go read about that on the website. So Dexter moves over to the St. George's tournament. St. Andrews College takes over for Dexter in this tournament. And St. Andrews College used to be with the St. Seb's tournament, which we'll get to in a bit. So, like, St. Andrews is really good. I think they have 7 Division I commits, which is incredible. But they had a tough time with prep teams last year. They lost to Brunswick, they lost to Salisbury, and they lost to Kimball Union as well. So they're a good team. I mean, definitely a big talent, a lot of talent adding into this tournament. So you have them. They're definitely a favorite. Cushing's a favorite. They've won 4 in a row. Their offense is sort of starting to click. I still have them in my top 5. This is a big tournament for them, just rebounding. They lost to Andover and Dexter to open the year, so this will give them a good opportunity. They have Lawrence Academy the first night. And Lawrence, their offense hasn't really been going yet, but they've been good defensively, good in net, so that'll be a good test. Another favorite you have in this is Holderness. Holderness is, I still have them in my top 10. They lost to Tilton 1-0 in their, first big test of the year. They've steamrolled everybody else, which is not a huge surprise. This is also a big tournament for them, just in terms of you're going to be facing some really good teams. They face Pomfret, which we'll get to in a second. Pomfret is really good this year. So this will be good for Holderness. They have a lot of new high-end guys that, maybe prep people haven't seen. Victor Samal, Braden Wade, Mark Beerworth, and Net's been really good. He's from Chelmsford. So, this is a good team. So you kind of teams looking to prove themselves. And, Pomfret's another one. Pomfret's 4-0-2 this year. They've been a big spoiler. They opened the year with ties against Nobles and Andover, and they've beat Proctor, Loomis, Portsmouth Abbey, and Pingree since. Matthew Itzkovitz, Luke Corrigan have been leading that offense, and they're older. They're seniors and juniors. That's that entire crux of that team. So they're a borderline top 10 team, and if they have a good tournament, they have to be in the mix at the very least.
Yep.
So they're another one. Then you have Groton. Groton again. I watched them over the weekend against Rivers. Good, promising team. Good on D. Alex Wang. I think he's an 09. He had a tough one against Rivers, but really good 15-year-old goalie. A lot of promise. West Demotica and net. Really good 07. So. And then you have Thayer and Proctor. And Thayer, again, we expected to be solid this year, and they have been so far. And Proctor's got some interesting talent. I like 06 defenseman Kevin Delaney. You have Colby Jewell, a post-grad, Beckett Homlish, a senior forward who's been doing well. So, I don't think there's any easy outs in that tournament. Some of these tournaments you'll see, there's a cupcake game here or there. This doesn't seem to have one, and in past years it kind of has. But this should be a good. This will be a good tournament for these teams, and it starts Thursday, so a day earlier than some of the others.
Yep, bright and early. It'll run through Saturday. Something that also starts on Thursday, and one of the bigger ones on the calendar is the Avon Old Farms Holiday Classic. Yes,
this will be a good tournament. You have Avon, who lost 2 of their last 3, so they're going to be gunning to try to win this again. I wrote this in my preview. Last year, Kent won it. They ended up winning the large school final. Avon won it the year before. They won the Elite 8 final, and then 3 years ago, Kent won it, and they went on to win the large school final. So, I don't know. Is it Avon? Maybe if Avon wins it this year, it's oh, crap, they're winning the Elite 8, or at least they're winning something. St. Paul's is a sneaky team. They tied Kimball Union. So again, they're a team that's on the come up. Scott Harf, first year coach, doing a good job out there. They did lose to Proctor most recently. They also lost to Tilton, but again, tying Kimball Union, and it was a 4-4 tie. It wasn't like it was 1-0 and the goalie was out of his mind, or 1-1 and the goalie was out of his mind. So I think that's they're going to be a tough team to play against. Frederick Gunn and Kent, I think, have a lot to prove. Kent has stumbled a bit. They're just outside my top 10. Frederick Gunn, a little further out, but still, I would say, in that top 15 mix. Both those teams, as I said, have high-end guys that are sort of just starting to figure it out, playing together. Frederick Gunn has an 06 Tyler Kelly, who I really liked from the Exeter Invitational. He was at Thayer a couple of years ago. I think he's really found his game. And Kent has a plethora of guys who I think will have college eyes on them this weekend. So those are going to be 2 teams that I think are looking to Frederick Gunn, I think last year had a tough Avon Christmas Classic right after we had him on, right after we had Craig Badger on the podcast.
Our jinx extends to the podcast.
Yeah, the jinx just continues. One team to watch, I had them in my top 10 this week, is Berkshire. 6-0.
Okay.
Berkshire's kicking ass, like 6-0. They have wins over Hoosac, Academy St. Louis, Albany Academy, Taft, Lawrenceville, The Hill. The big one, obviously, there is Taft. They have Matt Lacombe, who's doing great, junior forward. He's an 07. Duncan Thompson, a senior 06. He's got 10 points. James McMurray, a junior 07. He's got 10 points. Kyle Bolduc's been great in net. Thompson's an interesting one because I think, as a senior 06, junior coaches, college coaches, I think are going to be on him pretty hard this weekend. So this will be a big weekend for him. So Berkshire, again, can Berkshire come away with a win in this? That would be pretty big for Kevin Seatbeal in his second year. And then you have Loomis, you have Tabor, and you have Trinity Pauling, who again are sort of middle of the pack teams that a good performance in this raises your value for the playoffs down the road, raises your value getting closer to the top 10. I think any of these teams who win their tournament will have a shot at the top 10. So interesting stuff all around there. Again, yeah, you're right. That starts Thursday. And then Friday, it's a packed schedule, and then it's done Saturday. So it'll be a good tournament. It'll be a good tournament.
Yep. And then another premier tournament on the calendar, the Floodmar, as we know. You have it at Nobles and Milton, and as usual, a pretty good field.
2 days at Nobles, though.
Hey, I get 2 days at Milton this year with
You're
the
lucky.
Harrington.
You're lucky. You're a lucky man. I dread. See, I guess I'm a glass half empty guy because last year, I couldn't appreciate 2 days at Milton because I'm like, next year's 2 years at Nobles. No bathrooms or bathrooms that the team use and all that stuff. Whatever. Anyway, it's actually a really good field. Kimball Union is the number one team in the region right now. They're humming. That team is good. They're deep. They won it last year. They fell just short the year before. They've reloaded. Xander Botelier, I think, is a guy that a lot of coaches, D1 guys are going to look and be like, okay, we got to talk to this kid when the game's over. Same with Lucas Siomo on D. Nick Evans on D is another one. So they have some guys. Corwith Simmers, by the way, as well, 54 points last year. So he's another. I think D1 coaches are going to want to watch Kimball Union for sure if they aren't already. Nobles is in our top 10. Phillips Andover is just outside of it. Deerfield could be. Salisbury's in our top 10. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 8 teams basically in or right next to the top 10. That's a great field. And then you have Hotchkiss, who has Connor Towley in net, who's a phenomenal goalie. Westminster has Jack Fickthorn, who's on NHL Central Scouting, phenomenal goalie. Milton's had a tough start to the year. Milton might be the lowest ranked team entering this. I think they're 0-4 right now. So again, a good performance in this would go a long way. They have a good roster too. That's the funny part. They have good players, so getting those guys going is going to be big in this tournament. But Kimball Union and Salisbury are probably the favorites. But Deerfield beat Salisbury there last year, and Nobles is going to be motivated. They're in their own place. You saw Nobles that first weekend, so you want to say Kimball Union just because, but I don't have a. I think it's kind of all over the place there, and so for where I will be, for those who care. I think I will be at the Floodmar probably 2 days, and then the Kevin Mutch 1. I might try to get out to Groton Lawrence on Thursday. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, a lot of hockey this weekend, which is fun.
A ton of hockey. Speaking of the Kevin Mutch, another one of the highlights. You have it at St. Seb's starting on Friday, runs through Sunday. Excuse me. St. Seb's, Rivers. Plenty in Brunswick, too. A couple high-end teams there. Yeah,
you could get some really good matchups on day 2. This would be good for Sebs. I saw them last week. Everyone was like, their Sebs going to be terrible. Do they have the high-end talent they did last year? No. But they work hard. They have high compete. They play hard. And I think they're going to be a team that's just a tough team to play against throughout the year. They get Albany Academy first. You have Northwood who comes into it. They're always a good team. Rivers Winchendon is a really good first Friday game. Winchendon's a team on the rise, and they get a great test in Rivers, which I think now is a good time to say. I texted you this last night, or we're recording this Tuesday. I believe it'll be out Wednesday. And I texted you this on Monday night. Rivers beat Portsmouth Abbey 8-1. So Carter Meyer now leads the region in points with 17 in 6 games, which is a 73-point pace for the season, and that doesn't include playoffs.
Yep.
So I went back and looked, and props to USHR. We love USHR. We went back and looked, or I went back and looked to like 2002, which is when they started keeping stats. The highest freshman total for point total, Sean Farrell of St. Mark's, 55 in 2016-17. So, and then Finn Sears is on pace for 60 points, another freshman from Rivers. So there's a chance. We'll talk
Sean
about
Farrell turned out to be a pretty good D1 player.
Sean Farrell turned out
playing pro hockey right now.
Good. There's a chance that one or both could surpass that and be the highest producing freshman of the last over 20 years. That is incredible. And the fact that they're on the same team, line mates, all that stuff. So just something to watch. We'll talk about it throughout the year, but got some potential greatness going on over there, which is huge. So that'll be a good game. The game I have circled is potentially Saturday night. If Rivers and Brunswick win their games, they would face off at 5 p.m. on Saturday, which would be a awesome game. That would be a terrific game. So that's my kind of highlight of that tournament.
Yeah, and then kind of rounding up here, you got Brooks Pingree, Lawrenceville, St. George's tournament, as we said, and the Barber Memorial tournament. What sort of matchups and teams stand out to you of these remaining?
Of these, I mean, again, like they're good tournaments. Millbrook's been doing really well. Tilton's been doing really well. They're both in the Brooks Pingree. If one of them could pull that off, that would be really important for their kind of overall standing. New Hampton is a good team. They high compete, all that stuff. So this will be a good test for them as well. Then you get into sort of the Lawrenceville Invitational. That you have Belmont Hill, you have Taft, you have Choate. This is a good kind of get right tournament for Belmont Hill. Belmont Hill's 2-2 so far. I still think in the long run they should be in the Elite Eight mix. Not quite as of right now, but this would be a good way for them to sort of get back on track. Barber, I have St. Mark's in my top 10. This would be a really good tournament for St. Mark's to come out on top and prove that they're legit. I mean, I know they beat Dexter, but this would be another way to do it. You also have Canterbury, the former small school champs, in that as well. So, some interesting teams to watch there. And then the St. George's one, you have the big matchup there is on Saturday at 10:45. If you live near Newport or you're interested, St. George's plays Dexter, which is a great matchup. So all those tournaments offer something. Obviously, you have the 4 big ones with, a lot of really good teams. But, if you choose to go, if you're at one of the others, those are also great tournaments that have some interesting teams in them for sure. So lots of top 10 teams playing throughout the region. And just do your Christmas shopping before these. Don't save it. Come on, please don't. I saved it to the last weekend and I scared the crap out of myself. Let's move on to girls prep holiday tournaments. Patsy K. Auden Invitational. That starts Thursday at Taft. What are you looking for with that?
Yeah, so sort of the same thing with the Avon tournament, one of the premier tournaments on the girls' side. Would love to make it down to Taft, but unfortunately on basically a holiday weekend, not in the cards.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, Group A.
By the way, we should preface. We'll still have coverage of stories on the winners, things like that. We just can't quite get to those with the way things are.
Yeah. So my weekend will probably look like a lot of Harrington.
Yeah.
And maybe depending on how Thursday looks, getting out to the walk-ins at Cushing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's that time of year you're balancing like family Christmas parties with I gotta be in at Dedham, and it's it'll be a busy weekend. Anyways, the Auden tournament, Group A is really exciting because you don't have Andover in there, but you got Loomis Chafee, who's in our top 5. Taft is no slouch, obviously. Kent is kind of hovering right around our rankings. Choate was around our rankings too. They haven't started super great, but all formidable teams. And then Group B, you got Hotchkiss, Lawrenceville, Phillips Andover, who was probably our favorite. I think it was both of our championship picks in the preseason pod. And Tabor's had a pretty solid start as well. Andover, like we said, tough to make a sweeping judgment off of one game, but that roster, like I wrote in my rankings, the roster's too good to, be counted out, which you're not going to count them out after one game. But
no.
Obviously thrown right back into the fire. They get Tabor first. And, Tabor, Jen Birolini has had an awesome start. I think she has 4 goals in 4 games coming straight from the MIAA. So hasn't missed a beat there.
No.
And then you got Loomis, who, kind of got goalied in their season opener against Nobles, but they've kind of bounced right back. They just hung 12 on Westminster last night.
That's crazy. Just never gave up.
Yeah,
just kept going.
So when I saw that game go final, I was like, holy crap. But yeah, Loomis, we've talked plenty about their defense, and their defense for us has gotten a lot of talk, but their forward group is just as deep with all the returners they have. Bella Zaleski's had a great start. And both goalies, Adeline Roper and Emily Hosman, have been strong as well. Choate, like we said, they haven't started super well, but they were in the mix last year. It's hard to sort of count them out so early in the season. And Kent, Rachel Bishop's been great. Eva Mayo's been great under new coach Elena Gualtieri. So they're obviously in the mix. And then Taft, the hosts, Brooke McLaughlin's had a good start to the year. So again, just a deep tournament.
Which is good, and I think it helps us with top 10. It can also make our lives more difficult making these top 10s when these teams are going at it at these tournaments and what to value more and what to value less. Moving along, Edward G. Watkins Invitational, that starts Thursday. All games are at Cushing. Looks like a pretty good field.
Yeah, the reason I would love to potentially get out there on Thursday would be to see Groton and New Hampton.
I was just looking at that. 6-10. That's a good game.
Yeah, that would be even Berkshire and Deerfield. Berkshire's been okay to start, and Cushing obviously has been in our rankings as well. Yeah, Groton and New Hampton's going to be a great game. Groton, I believe, 4-0-0. Tina Scalise, 9 points in 4 games, 8 goals in 4 games.
That's crazy.
Is that any good?
2 per game,
Yep.
Classic.
Maddie Cronin's got 8 points in 4 games too. So, Groton and, Jalen Trudell 5 and 4. Groton's top line doing their thing. Hasn't missed a beat. And then New Hampton slipped a little bit in our rankings. They went 1-1-1 last week. Losing to Thayer. Thayer made it into our rankings. We'll talk about them later. But, there's a reason, we've talked about New Hampton is, establishing themselves as belonging in that Elite 8 crowd. They were probably in that same stratosphere last year. The math just didn't work out their way. So a really, really excited for that game. Deerfield fallen out of the rankings this week. They're 3-2 on the season. But again, just another team that has the high-end talent, has the depth, and especially the goalie in Campbell Crotty. So, this would be a great opportunity for them to kind of get their legs got under them and kind of find a groove here. Cushing as well, another MIA standout, Bella Freitas, who we've talked about plenty, also not missing a beat. I think she has 7 points in 4 games or 5 games, something like that. Julia Lambert's had a great start to the season, Sadie Bellissimo as well in net. So, yeah, Cushing is kind of, we talked about them as maybe a sleeper entering the year, and can they get into that playoff mix and that upper echelon? So far, they're doing it.
Yeah, clearly they are. And then there's also the Harrington tournament, which is the one you said you'd be at the most. That is at Milton. It's at Nobles. Congrats, you get the 2 days at Nobles.
At Milton, excuse you.
Excuse me, that's right. Yeah. Congrats, I get the 2 days at Nobles. I do remember though, Nobles always has food. They bring pizza and stuff, so I'm for it. For over 20 years, Eric Nate's Euro Hockey has been helping hockey players of all ages develop their individual skills and improve on all aspects of their game. Through structured drills and innovative training equipment, Eric Nate's Euro Hockey's intense on-ice instruction challenges each student to be the best at their ability. Find a hockey clinic or summer camp that is right for you today at nateshockey.com. That's Nates hockey.com. Eric Nate's Euro Hockey, train to be the best.
Are you serious about playing your sport in college? Do you need a flexible education that allows you to maintain your practice and competition schedules while also preparing you to succeed at the next level? You should check out the University of Nebraska High School. UNHS is accredited and offers more than 100 online courses, including NCAA-approved courses to protect your academic eligibility. Students could earn a UNHS diploma or take a single course for transfer credit. Courses are college prep, self-paced, and available 24/7, 365. Enroll anytime and take up to a year to complete a course. Visit highschool.nebraska.edu today.
Hey, it's Bobby Moran, Director of Athletics at Thayer Academy. You know what? Experience matters, and Thayer Academy's professional coaching staff understands how to work with each student athlete to help them succeed. Our coaches and faculty are committed to ensuring both 5th to 12th graders feel known, connected, and prepared. This is Thayer's secret sauce, nurturing each student to reach their full potential. Here, success is truly a team sport. Are you ready for your child to take the next step? See what Thayer has to offer at thayer.org. That's THAYER.org.
I was at the Absolute Filth Hockey Wax website the other day, and I was wondering to myself what Absolute Filth's Dragon's Blood smells like. Is it fiery, or maybe it's sweet like the scent of victory after a triple overtime game? Probably a mystical aroma that'll magically make you dominate the ice. Knowing the folks at Absolute Filth, I bet it's part fierce dragon, part subtle smokiness, with a dash of awesomeness jammed into that giant puck of wax. Whatever it is, I'm definitely grabbing some Dragon's Blood for my next game. Gonna slap that wax on my stick and play with fire. Sorry, boys, but the locker room's about to smell like a medieval fantasy tonight. Check out Dragon's Blood and more over at Absolute Filth's website, hockeywax.com. Perfect for the holidays, and they've even got a 2-for-1 sale going on right now with free shipping. Awaken your inner dragon and rule the ice at hockeywax.com.
How's the girls' side looking for this?
It's stacked as always.
Yep.
Nobles and Williston, they're 1 and 2 for us, or vice versa. Williston still at 1, Nobles 2. Westminster, I had them kind of just outside of our top 10. They've struggled. Obviously, we just said Loomis just hung 12 on them last night, so we're recording this on Tuesday. This would have been Monday. Lawrence Academy is maybe the team I'm most interested to see. New coach, Nikki Petrick, we weren't really expecting a ton from them this season. They had a tough year last year, anywhere but up coming off last year. And they've been great. They beat Choate, beat St. Paul's, tough loss, 5-0 to Tabor. They beat St. George's, who's been okay to start. So this will sort of be some of their biggest tests and, kind of prove it games for them, and B, just kind of me being able to get a look at them and, how everything's, just how they look.
And you get to see how they stack up against these top teams.
Yes.
They played Nobles the first day.
Yeah. They get Nobles, and then they get Williston the next morning, and then they get Westminster.
10:30 against Williston the
good morning.
day after Nobles. Oh, my God.
Yeah. But Gina Kuchenham, she's committed to Norwich, I think. She's got 5 points in 4 games. She's had a great start. Ava Glab, too. And even some of the newcomers that Nikki Petrich was excited about. Violet Safari, who's a youngster coming from, public schools. She's got 2 assists in 4 games. Courtney Schifrin, who was at, I think, Algonquin-Hudson last year, 3 assists in 4 games. So good starts for the newcomers. Lawrence, I'm interested to see. Williston, we've talked about them plenty. They've had no issues so far. Mia Daly's kind of picking right up where she left off. She looks like she could have a big year. Nora Curtis, they just had it. They just took down Cushing. It was a kind of a big comeback, or not a big comeback. They were down 1-0, down 2-1, erased both deficits, 5-2 win. And from the tape that I saw, it looked like all goals were at 5-on-5, which is a great sign. And they're getting it throughout the lineup in that game too. So Wilson's humming. Nobles we've talked about. They hung, I think, 9 on St. Mark's. Took care of Loomis, took care of Choate, I believe. Some of the younger forwards that we were saying, like, this will be that next wave for Nobles, and can they take that step this year? Alexa Jorgantis has had a great start to the season. Greta Hulbing and Rachel Zhao are coming off great weekends. And on D, some of the newcomers are starting to get kind of in a groove. Reese Engel and Nora Shea just scored their first goals. So, again, all boding well. And we haven't even talked about, BB&N, St. Paul's, like 2 teams that, BB&N's in our top 5, I believe, this week, or top 6.
They are 5.
Yeah, they've had a great start. Just took down Deerfield, another big test. St. Paul's coming off an Elite 8 last year. They're obviously always in the mix. Should be a great weekend.
Yeah, that's a stacked lineup. And I think for teams like BB&N, St. Paul's, they can move up in that top 10 if they can come out of this with a ship. So interesting stuff there. Then you move to Dexter. So Dexter has their tournament. You got Brooks, you got Dexter, you got Nichols, Thayer. And then Group B, you got Hill School, Kimball Union, Middlesex Rivers. Group A with Dexter and Thayer, to me, seems like the most interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll also touch on with the Harrington real quick. The trend that you had of who wins the Avon tournament goes on to win a title at the end of the year. Nobles won the Harrington last year. They go undefeated and win a title. The year before, Williston won the Harrington, and they go on to two-peat for a title.
There you go.
I didn't take more than that. But that was
I think
just a cursory look. Two's a trend, I think.
I think 2 is a trend, yeah.
But yeah, the Dexter tournament shaping up pretty well too. You get Dexter. I've been super impressed with, and we had them, I think, 6th coming into the year, so we expected them to be good. They're 3 this week. They moved in. They stayed put last week, just a tie and then kind of a chalky win, but a big time win last week. And Maddie Murphy, I texted you. Unbelievable start to the season numbers wise. 11 points in 5 games, something like that.
Yeah, incredible.
On D, and which, if you're a Boston College women's hockey fan, look out next year.
That's insane.
Yeah,
as a defenseman.
Yes. So Dexter's humming right now. That was a huge, statement with the win over Andover. Thayer, like we said, into our top 10 this week. They've been awesome. They just took down St. George's last night. Morgan McGathy has 10 goals in 5 games. I don't know if that's okay. Seems okay.
Seems all right to me.
Seems decent. And even outside of her, Thayer's thing for me, they were just outside of our top 10 as well coming into the year, was the depth around Morgan McGathy and Kate Sullivan and, who else can kind of step up. And you have 5 players over a point per game. 4 have 7 or more points. Lydia Keelty's had a great start. Kate Sullivan, obviously UNH commit. Emerson Fisher-Bailey, a young defender who, little small for on D, but has had a great start to the year with 7 assists. So Thayer's been awesome. Both goalies, too, have been really good so far as well. That was another sort of question mark for them under new coach Michael Flynn. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they take on Dexter on Saturday, which will be a great game. And Rivers, too, is the other team to watch here. They've had a good start. I think they're 2-0-0. I was trying to see them play Tabor last Wednesday.
What happened with that, Pat?
A little wind, little rain. Guess who found out the hard way that game got canceled? Showing up to Weston at 5 o'clock traffic.
I was saying to you that would kill me. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. But Lindsay Moore and Nora Swaim have had great starts, 2 goals in 1 game. Oh, Rivers has only played 1 game. So there you go. But yeah, so Rivers taking down Kimball Union, who's also in this tournament. They won 4-2 2 weeks ago at this point, I believe. Rivers gets Mount tomorrow for a little warm up before the tournament, but yeah,
props to teams that schedule games on Wednesday right before.
Yeah, Lawrence has one too.
The holiday tournament, I give you props on that. It's like a 5-game week.
Yeah, Lawrence gets a game tomorrow and Wednesday before Nobles and Williston back to back.
That is wild.
And a 2-game day on Saturday. Those are the heavy hitters. Others to watch, there's the Portsmouth Abbey, there's the Howard, St. George's obviously has been good, Austin Prep. Those are the 2 teams to watch there. Portsmouth Abbey, Frederick Gunn, they made it to the small school tournament last year. They're one to watch. Tilton with Evelyn Lacey and net, they're one to watch. Newton Country Day, Mount St. Charles, first year in the NEPSAC, has kind of been lighting it up. Again, once they get into the meat of their schedule, we'll see. But good story for them so far. Other than that, there's the Governors Jamboree. Governors has been, Governors tied New Hampton. So they're.
I did not know that.
Yes. 2-2 tie. And Governors, again, another one of those teams, maybe they can sneak into the back end of the playoff picture for the small school tournament at some point. But another team, or large school, I forget what bracket they're in. But another team to kind of keep tabs on there. And I think that covers it for the girls' tournaments.
It's tough because, as we sit here and discuss some of these matchups, it's man, I wish I could be at all of them. I wish I could see all these high-end, the top matchups. You want to see those, and it's hard to do because they're all in different places. Yeah. So
when the puck drops with Dexter and Thayer, I'll be doing my family Secret Santa. So unfortunately,
family comes first. We're a family first podcast. I'm watching the Fast and the Furious movies now, so family, it's everything, man. As Dom Toretto would say. But one more thing before we get into overtime. Shout out to John Missouri, friend of the podcast. Former, was on here. We did a whole interview with him. I think it's still our most viewed, at least on YouTube. Got his 400th win, which is incredible. Yep. That is a lot of games.
Considering the guy he filled in for as well.
Yeah, Ed Burns, big big deal. And John took over a Winchester team years before that was awful. Like they had to like beg John to take that job. So his accomplishments as a coach are unbelievable. Just his development, everything. Like I don't think people realize how good a lot of the coaches are in the MIAA. Like there are some high-end coaches that would be able to coach pretty much anywhere. And John's Arlington guy who just loves Arlington and has developed so many guys. Kids want to run through brick walls for him. He is as funny as a person as there is, as great a quote as there is. So 400 wins for him is awesome. So congratulations to him and his family.
Yes,
so,
huge accomplishment.
Huge accomplishment for sure. And we'll have more MIAA next week and weeks after as they have their holiday tournaments after Christmas. But it's time for overtime with our great producer, David Yaz.
Yes, indeed, gentlemen. Time again for overtime. It's everybody's favorite segment where I quiz our panelists on something they are just not prepared for. But I may have lost my mind, gentlemen, because it's going to be the most creative overtime ever.
I like this.
What we're going to do is create 3 hockey movies, and we need to cast them, and we need to come up with a rough plot. And the only thing you get are the titles. And we can work together on this. So this is not a competition. This is a team effort. So the title of the first movie, you have a choice. And let me pull it up here. The overtime research department is coming. Okay. Top Shelf or Hat Trick. We have to create a movie that is entitled either Top Shelf or Hat Trick. Evan, you can pick this first one.
Those sound like Lifetime movies.
Yeah. Or Hallmark.
Well, it could be. It could be.
Maybe.
It's the holiday
Hallmark just did like a
season.
Kansas City Chiefs Christmas
Yes,
movie.
right.
So like,
It did. Maybe we'll do something like that. I will go with. They're both cliche, and like this is the name of every in-arena restaurant, but I'll go with Top Shelf.
Top Shelf. Okay, Top Shelf is the choice. Now, you can't see this at home, everybody, but I've put on screen some of our top actors and actresses that are like drawing big box office numbers. They range from Chris Hemsworth to Chris Pratt to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kate Winslet, Emily Blunt, Margot Robbie, anybody you want. So, but before we talk about casting, Top Shelf, it's a hockey movie, but that Top Shelf could have a double meaning. So let's consider what the rough plot of this thing is. Any ideas off the top?
What you got? Anything?
part of me wants to say like if we want to go like kind of make it a Christmas movie, top shelf where they put the cookies.
All
the
right.
Christmas cookies on the top shelf.
Okay, I like
like
this.
that.
Or it could be like a cooking, like you have ingredients on the top. I don't know.
Okay.
Or it could be deeper. It could be top shelf, like getting your father's love it's so hard to reach.
Okay.
Yeah, put that on the top shelf.
And he only will only like you if you're good at hockey.
And he scores a top shelf goal, and then you get the dad, like the guy from Rudy, just clapping.
Okay.
Your father has finally shown emotion.
Yeah.
All right. So right there we cast the dad. That's,
But it's got to be
that's
it's around Christmas for sure.
Christmas. So the guy clapping in Rudy was Rudy's buddy. That was played by a portly John Favreau. He's lost a little weight now, but he's of the age now where he could play the dad.
Good.
Okay.
There you go.
So wait, remind me of what the plot is again of Top Shelf, roughly. He's our star is trying to win his father's love. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let's say that.
Okay. So who do you want to cast in this? And so the young man is a hockey player, and he's never achieved his.
Yeah, maybe the dad had a great career and the son just hasn't lived up to it yet.
Okay. All right.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
or
it.
like,
And
it doesn't even have to be like a pro career. The dad was just like the hometown high school hero, and the kid's like on the fourth line on the high school team, barely made the team.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a great. So we typically like the reason it's. I'll say this: the reason it's a male hockey player is because if it's a girl, the father's gonna love her no matter what. Like where it can be tougher with.
We'll cast an actress to throw in at the end.
Oh, for
doing
sure.
Something. Yeah, she'd be selling concessions or something. No, I'm just kidding. But okay, so Top Shelf, and the opening sequence has these news clips of the dad when he was young.
Yes.
And it says Top Shelf prospect.
Yeah.
So and so. Okay, and it's of the person when he was young.
Maybe his career didn't fully pan out after like college or something.
Injury,
like
and now he's living vicariously through the kid.
Yes.
It's disappointing.
This is relatable to a lot of people.
Okay, so
Don't do that.
I'd say we stick with Jon Favreau because you can imagine him as a young man, a lot skinnier.
Jon Favreau.
So he's the but he's the supporting lead. Our we still have to cast our lead actor.
I'm trying to think of who
So-
kind of looks like him.
Like who could pass as young is like Andrew Garfield.
Okay,
I'm looking at the screen. I was thinking Tom Holland.
Tom Holland would be good.
Didn't they
too.
both play Spider-Man?
They did.
All right, I'll break the tie. We'll go with I go with Tom Holland.
There you
He's
go.
a little bit more of an athletic build.
Yeah.
But he's going to have
A little
to be
smaller. Maybe there's a reason he's on the fourth line.
Right. He's if he's good, he's going to have to be like a Theo Fleury type or whatever. But he's undersized, so he's getting the crap beat out of
there
him.
we go.
Okay.
I like that.
Dad was a big power forward.
Is this still a Christmas movie or not?
No.
Okay.
Could be
we'll
set
do
in around Christmas.
Hold on. Maybe we'll hold that up.
Maybe it's to
During
win
a
a
holiday
Christmas tournament. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
At this rate, we might only have time for one movie.
Yeah, that's true. We're watching the clock here, but so and he's struggling, and so the thing he has to overcome is both love for his dad and advancing as a hockey player. Now, does he have a love interest or?
Yes, I was going to say there's got to be some sort of girl in the stands he's trying to catch the attention of.
Or maybe she's the trainer. Could she be the trainer?
No. If it's a high school, like a
Okay.
trainer for a high school team would be an adult. Can't do that.
Okay.
They can't do that.
So maybe she's okay. So if she's just a high school girlfriend, we can do that. But someone who is she an athlete? Does she understand hockey? Does she love hockey? Or does
She could be the star on the girls' team.
Okay,
He's
well,
trying to
There you go.
match her skills.
Yeah.
And-
Ooh.
and
Match her stardom
and
too. So he's trying to
she's,
live up to two people right now.
yes, okay.
You know,
I
hockey
like
love
it.
stories are like huge with books, right? Like
No. Yeah.
there's a huge market of like hockey love stories because I'll see it mentioned on Twitter and stuff. So we're on to something.
Is that where you
here.
see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I read them. Actually, I read a lot of them. No, I don't.
So
But
who are you casting as the great hockey player / love interest? I'm looking. Scarlett Johansson's too old, obviously.
It's tough because
I think it's
Someone
got to
who
be
could plausibly-
Zendaya.
was
If you want
right.
to have the real life connection, yeah.
Well, and,
I was gonna say Zendaya.
oh wait, are they involved in real life?
Yeah.
No, they are.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Unless that changed.
I think, yeah.
Oh well, that's a mistake. But whatever. We're casting a movie here. I don't care if they're together. But Zendaya was just in that tennis movie, right?
Yeah.
So she's
And
athletic.
she can pass as young too. Like
yeah, in the Spider-Man movies, they're both in high school.
I
Yeah.
can't believe she's already 28. But okay, yes.
Wow. Okay.
That's crazy.
Well, we don't have a list of under 21 stars here. So yeah, they're going to have to play
these
young.
people typically play. Like,
They gotta
younger.
play young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at. Well, actually, you know what? I'll give a good one.
What?
She's 25, and I loved her in Mad Men. Kiernan Shipka.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Who played young Sally Draper?
Sally Draper, yeah,
Yes.
she's young. I mean, it's only 3 years. Zendaya's a bigger name, so like if we're trying to sell tickets here and get
You already
Netflix
got
money,
Tom Holland and Jon Favreau.
yeah.
Okay.
But still, though, Zendaya with Tom Holland, that would get a lot of people to watch just because
Okay.
history. So
And finally, if we're going to borrow a page from Rudy, maybe there's someone that works at the hockey rink. An old grizzled guy
Zamboni driver.
Yeah. So who do you want in that
Puts
role?
the net out there at 5 a.m.
If you
He's
want-
the only kid on the ice.
If you want stunt casting, it could be a former NHL player. If we want to be biased, we can set it in Boston. That could be like.
Zdeno Chara's just there.
Wait a minute, that would be funny.
You know what? You know who would be good for like that image would be Sean Thornton.
Okay.
yeah, he is
All right.
grizzled.
All right.
Can he act though?
Yeah, but like he
Well-
has the look of like a guy from Charlestown driving the Zamboni.
No, he does. We get the older Grizzly, John Grizzly.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be a great pick, John Grizzly.
John Grizzly's in our movie.
John Grizzly in his debut role acting, right? And we've got ourselves a winner. Top Shelf, starring Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jon Favreau, and who's your?
John Grizzly.
And John Grizzly. Okay. Go see it now. All right. We might not have time for 3 today, but I think we have time for one more.
This is fun. I like
Okay,
this.
So,
Yeah.
well, we can bring it back sometime. Pat, you get to choose this one. Do you want? I'll give you 3 this time. No, I'll give you 2. I'm sorry. Empty Net or The Blue Line. empty net or the blue line?
There are a couple ways you could go.
Or you could go back to hat trick.
No, I'll go empty net.
Empty net. Okay. Empty net. So it's obviously a hockey term. It connotes the desperation at the end of a game. But what else could it connote?
Ooh, I was kind of thinking maybe it's like, parents have their star hockey player who's going off to college to play hockey. Now they have an empty nest.
It's
or an
a
empty
play
net.
on empty nest, right? Except
But
Interesting.
That's one way. I don't know if Evan had a better idea.
okay. So so it's about
it just depends what they do. What are they doing? Like now that they're empty nesters, what's their what are they doing?
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
have an idea though what they're
Okay.
doing.
What are they doing?
Let's do a real feel good movie.
Okay.
And they're empty nesters and their kids are off, but they love hockey.
Right.
And so they open a program for underprivileged kids to play hockey.
okay.
That sounds like a Hallmark movie.
It does sound like a Hallmark.
Yes.
It also sounds unrealistic, which
And
should be realistic. It should be realistic, but
And the kids are a wacky gang of misfits. That's never been done before.
or what if they're orphans?
Okay. They're orphans.
Some of them. Diversity matters.
I mean, we're just workshopping here. So let's cast the parents. The parents were they hockey parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they were hockey
the
parents.
Classic, like crazy hockey parents.
Right.
And
And
like obviously their kid had to be good enough to go play college hockey.
Or would we want to do not classic college hockey parents who have no background in hockey, who are kind of forced into doing this? So they're sort of like navigating, and then they fall in love with hockey at the end of the movie. What are we thinking?
I'm going with the first one because I got an opening scene in mind. The opening scene is the two parents who are, they're in their 50s. They still look, kind of young and sprightly, but they're in their 50s. Their kids are emancipated. They're gone. And the opening scene is a garage sale, and they're trying to sell. They're selling stuff, and they're selling off all the old hockey equipment, and there's a ton of it, and some of it's still kind of in good shape, and the people and like. Then the husband and wife, they wave goodbye to the last person, and all the hockey stuff is gone, right? So now there they are, and they look at each other like, well, what next? Okay, we've got an empty nest and an empty net or whatever.
I would kill my parents if they sold my hockey equipment.
Yeah.
All right, we
That
can
old
nitpick
CCM
this.
RBZ, it's not just collecting dust down there. Maybe I'll use it again.
Yeah,
if you're
but
not-
it is a movie, and
It's
I like
a movie.
that.
It's the okay. So we need to cast husband and wife. What do you got, Pat?
I was
You
going
got
to
a
say,
twist?
along
Yeah.
the garage sale, maybe there's like, one stick that like doesn't get sold. It's
Okay.
like the son's first stick,
Oh,
like
I
an
like
old
that.
like yellow Easton Stealth or whatever. And
Yep.
it's-
That's what I
it's
use.
It's cut down. Well, you have the new one. It doesn't count.
Yeah, no, okay,
I have,
so
the, new, I
Pat-
have the new gray one. It doesn't count.
So Pat, I like that.
And
So
so they
and maybe in unlikely fashion, the wife is the one who pulls it aside, and the dad is like, you're not going to sell that? She goes, no, we're keeping this one or something like
yeah,
that.
like I miss it. Like we should like find something to do again in hockey. Like
Well, also maybe the stick comes back at the end though. It's a callback because
Yeah.
one of the kids, one of the underprivileged kids that they work with in the last game is gonna be presented with that stick and say,
or
yep,
how about that stick's just like it just sits in the back of the dad's truck the whole time or whatever.
Right.
And kid breaks his stick.
Right.
And it's the only stick they got.
that's right.
He's got to go get it because they need it now for overtime.
in the last game. Yes, okay,
they score.
perfect. I love
have
it.
two ideas for the husband:
Okay, good.
Woody Harrelson
Wow,
or Ethan Hawke.
Ooh, Ethan Hawke would
both
be a good
really
one.
good.
Because they're both like fatherly figures. I loved Ethan Hawke in Boyhood.
Yeah.
That movie's like 100 hours long, but Ethan Hawke
I
is...
watched that in a class.
Yep.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, I watched that on Popcorn Time back in the day. Remember that half? You get everything for free?
Yeah,
No.
It was illegal.
Ethan Hawke has grown into that. I think you're right. He was great in Boyhood. He's in Boyhood. He plays the flawed yet dad with a heart.
Divorced dad.
Divorced dad. Well, but he's not divorced in this movie.
Woody Harrelson's good, though, too. Ethan Hawke, though, has that role a little more.
I say
Yeah.
I like Woody Harrelson in the movie. Maybe he's the buddy. He's a little bit of a bad influence. He's the neighbor.
Yep, he is.
He's who's
He
constantly.
gives them an idea that helps spawn this whole thing.
Yeah.
Or he's trying to be like, you're really gonna like do hockey again? Like,
Right.
Underprivileged
like
kids.
why don't you come? Like, we're going on this trip. Why don't you guys come? No, we got a hockey tournament. You serious? Like,
Yeah.
And Woody is like the sort of Kramer of this movie, where he doesn't seem to have a job, but he's always just hanging around, like making funny comments.
Slides to the door.
Right. Okay. So we got Ethan Hawke. We need, who is Ethan Hawke's wife, who also loves hockey? I'll throw out Emily Blunt. Is she? I don't know. She might not be old enough.
The British accent gonna?
She plays old. Well, you're right. Kate Winslet.
Oh, she's married to John Krasinski. I didn't know that.
Come on, everybody knows that. Evan.
Come on.
I didn't Massachusetts native. You don't know that?
Sad, isn't it?
We need kind of an, or maybe it's like a Joan Cusack, or we need actresses that are. Is this going to be a comedy? What do you got?
I was gonna say maybe he's married a younger woman, and it's like Sydney Sweeney.
Oh God!
I mean,
just going for ratings, Evan.
Who was in? Jennifer Aniston's done some long roles in some
Jennifer
in some movies.
Aniston is great. Sandra Bullock.
Yeah,
or is that too much?
It's too blindsided.
Is that too blindsided?
I mean, she knows the role well.
Thing. Yeah, it is. But is that the same thing?
You know, I was.
Michael Orr was underprivileged.
Yeah, you're right. There'll be too many. We'll go with Aniston.
Aniston's good. That's a safe. It's a good safe pick.
Yeah, unless you want.
That's how you get the viewers.
Yes.
All right, so you got Jennifer Aniston and Ethan Hawke, and then the kids are going to be unknowns, right?
Yeah, I feel like you don't want known child actors. The best child actors are the ones you don't really know.
Yeah. So do the adult kids? Do their adult kids? Are they in the movie at all?
Maybe like the son's home on break and he's like helping him out at practice, and then like that's when things start to click.
Or how about they
drop out?
Yeah, right. He drops out. He's
not getting ice time. He's frustrated.
Well, or maybe he's not even playing hockey. Oh, go ahead. You go, Pat.
Well, no. If we're gonna marry ourselves to like the kid is a college hockey player wherever school.
Yep.
Maybe he's not getting ice time. He's frustrated. He's like, what's even the point? He comes back.
Right.
He's helping out with the team. Reignites that fire.
Well, that's just it. Yeah. But I was going.
Good B storyline.
Yes. Yes.
I was going that he was. He burned out at college. Like maybe he was a good hockey player, but he decided he really wants to be he wants to go into finance or something. So he goes to a top school and finds it's not what it's like. He takes to drugs and he's or some booze.
I like this.
And so before you know it, he's sleeping on the couch, and Ethan Hawke and Jennifer Aniston are like, "What are you going to do with your life now?" And he says, "Didn't you guys just start up this youth hockey team? Maybe they could use me around."
I like that.
Okay. So who's he? He's young.
Definitely younger.
Yeah.
That is where.
Could that be where Chris Garfield or Andrew Garfield comes in?
Maybe.
He's already.
Although he's already old.
He's 41.
That's crazy.
I know.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have too many young people on this.
Glenn Powell's out in the street these days.
What is?
Oh yeah.
I don't know how old he is.
I think he's older, and he's built.
Yeah.
So 36. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Young male actors.
Actors under 25.
You know who I do like? I don't know if he would work for this because he doesn't look super athletic, and I liked him in Sex Education, but Asa Butterfield. He's British though, so I don't think that would.
Wait a minute. How about the cute kid from Stranger Things? The chubby kid from Stranger Things.
Oh, like the main kid?
No, I mean the funniest one. He was a little
with
chubby.
the teeth?
Yeah. Or we could go with the main guy. I don't know.
Gaten Matarazzo? That kid? The one who's in the Verizon commercials?
Yes. It'll be his first kind of dramatic turn because he's done comedy.
You're right. Now he's trying to get into adult, better films.
Right. But I could see him sleeping on the couch and waking up, and then all of a sudden he gets that spirit back. Okay. We're up against the clock, but we've got a winner.
We spent more time on this than
what was this one called again? Empty Net.
Empty Net.
Go in theater. Ethan Hawke, Jennifer Aniston, Gaten Matarazzo,
Woody
Harrelson. It's a perfect holiday movie. They're both great holiday movies. Back to you, Ethan, before we completely lose control.
Ethan. Evan Hawke.
Back to you, Evan. Oh, my
Ethan
God.
Hawke right
You've
here.
been replaced with Ethan
Maronofsky.
Replaced with Ethan Hawke. Good
Lucky
Lord.
me.
Back to you, Evan.
That was good. We should do more of these throughout the year because that's interesting. We can do TV series at one point. We could do documentaries that aren't made. But that's great. But anyway, that's been RinkWise. We covered everything in this episode. That's Patrick Donnelly. I'm Evan Maranowski. We will see you at the rinks.